Hey everybody, join me and my friend Brian. We'll take you on a beautiful hike down to the Little Grand Canyon, Shawnee National Forest in southern Illinois. The Little Grand Canyon is about 2 hours and 15 minutes southeast of where Brian and I live in Illinois. We're just east of St. Louis, Missouri. It was an easy drive and it got really pretty once we got off the interstate. We located a campsite on Little Grassy Lake, right at the tip of a peninsula. It couldn't have been more perfect. So here's our campsite at Little Grassy Lake. We're the only ones here, which really makes it very nice. You can see where we've got our tent set up. For dinner, I made some homemade dehydrated shepherd's pie. So there's the hamburger part of it right there. There's the mashed potatoes. I've got peas and carrots boiling right now. I'll add the meat to it in a second. And it looks like it's going to be good. We just had a wonderful fire last night. We sat up and, truth be told, we had a couple of bourbons and enjoyed the fire and went to bed probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. We had a wonderful sunrise this morning. I was up to catch that and got a little clip of most of it. But this is just starting out to be a really good couple of days that we're going to camp here. For breakfast this morning, I'm having a little backpacker's pantry. This is called the Rocky Mountain Scramble. It's scrambled eggs, potatoes, and cheddar cheese. And we'll see how this tastes here. Still pretty hot. It's a little soupy looking. Perhaps I put a little bit too much water in it, but we'll see. It has just been gorgeous. The high yesterday was in the mid-70s. It dropped back down to about 53 last night, so I was able to keep the doors open on the tent, you know, with the mesh screen closed. I've got a 32-degree quilt that I used. It's by Featherstone, I think. I'll tell you exactly what the brand is, but I really like that quilt. It's a relatively inexpensive quilt, but it does a great job. And actually, last night I had to keep throwing it off because it just got too darn warm. I tried a new app called Backcountry from a company called Onyx. It really worked pretty well. Once we found the hike that we wanted to go on, I was able to drop a pin at the trailhead. Then the app would give me the exact coordinates that I could copy into Apple Maps or Google Maps, and they would take us right to the trailhead. After you've planned your route, you can run through that route. You see the black dot going along that line there, and it's telling you how far you're going. You can see in the block next to the black dot the elevation and the distance that you have traveled so far on the trail. When you trace all the way through what you've mapped out, at the end it'll tell you the distance for the entire hike, which in this case was 2.84 miles. At a little over a mile, almost 1.2 miles, you'll come to the area where it starts to open up, and you can see where you're going to be dropping into the Little Grand Canyon area. And that's where we are right now.
This is Chalk Bluff.
This is called Chalk Bluff, Brian says. So you can see the bluffs over there, and we'll be heading back this way to the left and heading down into the canyon. An amazing fact is, if you look way off in the distance there, you'll see a set of bluffs. That's actually where the Mississippi River runs today. Centuries ago, it ran just below us here, 6 miles away from those bluffs. We also kept an eye on the buzzards. who kept an eye on us 70-year-olds hoping for a meal. We noticed a lot of poison ivy along the trail, and we had to watch out for that. We also had to be careful because as we got lower and lower, water trickling down made the hiking muddy, slippery, and treacherous. But it also became much more beautiful the lower we got into the canyon. Some nice bluffs here as we get down toward the base of the canyon. You see how this one's overhanging. And then behind me here, a whole lot of places where the wall has big holes in it. You see this one behind Brian here, goes back pretty far. It was a trail we just came down there. That was no fun. As you descend into the canyon, some of the hiking gets to be pretty steep and you really have to scramble. In a few places, they actually cut into the stone and made some steps. But in this case, the bottom step was about 5 feet off of the base. I have to give Brian a lot of credit. Last February, he had a very serious skiing accident, had to have a couple of plates put in his leg, and was in a cast for quite some time. He's really made a great comeback. Hiking back out of the canyon was obviously much more difficult than descending into the canyon, but I can tell you some of the prettiest sights we saw were on our way up out of the canyon. It was just beautiful. We didn't have any cell service in the canyon, but I had downloaded the map on my phone and I could still use the Onyx map, and it performed great. We never once felt like we were lost or off trail. You remember, though, I had originally said that the trip was going to be about 2.84 miles, and it wound up being 3.6 miles, as shown on the tracker here. A couple of reasons for that. One is, I really didn't close the loop between the beginning and the ending of the hike like I should have. The other is that the trail actually dropped quite a bit south, further than it showed on the map, which added some mileage as well. I was using X Backcountry on their free trial version. When I got home, I called customer service, asked a few questions, and they were great, by the way. After they answered my questions, I quickly upgraded to the paid service, which is only about $30 a year, a bargain. So for dinner tonight, Chef Brian, made some garlic mashed potatoes and some brown sugar carrots. These are already pre-cooked. I dry brined some strip steaks for us, and then Brian has also wrapped a couple of ears of corn that we'll be making in the coals. All right, so we have a nice bed of coals going. You can hear those steaks sizzling. Our carrots and mashed potatoes are nice and hot in the boiling water. Strip steak, braised carrots, garlic mashed potatoes, corn on the cob. This is the way to camp, my friends. We had another night of perfect weather on our second night. It was going to get down into the 50s again this evening, just perfect for sleeping. Brian and I both agreed this probably is one of our best camping trips ever. The weather was wonderful. We got a great campsite right next to a lake, so we had wonderful views. The hike itself was just perfect. We enjoyed our fire, enjoyed another sunrise, and guess what? This trip we didn't get lost. That was a high for us. Thanks for watching. I hope you try the Little Grand Canyon. It's a great trip.